Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Wake Up Charlotte to Go. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome. And you're hearing double
instant
time
replay.
There you go. Listen, this morning we're talking about what a lot of folks are talking about this morning, and that is as this sub remains somewhere unknown near the wreckage of the Titanic.
Yeah, about 4 days ago this time, it went down into the ocean. Reporters all over are in Boston covering this story, and time is ticking down now.
It's really becoming an international effort. Even the French are involved in this.
Yes.
Obviously, Canada, the United States. So it's find these guys and save them.
We would say we're around the area of time of where we estimate, the Coast Guard estimates the oxygen. Whether it's right now, an hour from now, there's a lot of variables in place, including, if there's still all 5 men alive, that would affect the amount of oxygen left. There's a
Tom,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Tom Costello has a recap for us, and we'll talk more about it on the other side of the story.
This morning, the recovery effort is expanding and intensifying.
I've never seen equipment of that nature move that quickly.
Surface expected to double from 5 to 10, and several remotely operated vehicles, including a French deep dive robot, will join the 2 underwater drones already looking for the missing sub near the ruins of the Titanic. The Coast Guard Command Center in Boston mapping out the area where Canadian P-3 aircraft continue to drop sonar buoys that have detected unusual noises and sounds.
I can't tell you what the noises are, but what I can tell you is, and I think this is the most important point, we're searching where the noises are, and that's all we can do at this point.
With the very real possibility, the emergency oxygen supply on board cramped, cold Titan submersible will run out this morning.
The oxygen, that one piece of data, right, there are a lot of pieces of data that we need to consider.
Teams continuing to work around the clock, refusing.
This is a search and rescue mission, 100%, and available asset that we have in an effort to find the Titan and the crew members.
Jay Gray, NBC News, Boston.
Jay Gray, sorry, not Tom Costello, but the Today Show this morning, they'd speak with the Coast Guard, who said they have already to the bottom of the ocean that can search, a machine, and they can strap these rescue attachments and bring the sub up. But again, now a lot of people saying you should have done this earlier. Is this too late?
Well, the problem is logistically is nearly impossible.
In fact, France being involved, getting their equipment there, Canada, the United States, it takes time to get out of the North Atlantic. So that's been the issue. And, obviously, this has never happened before. You're not dealing with something that they've done before. There have been submarine rescues, but those down, not to the extent that these guys are.
And if this was a state-sponsored, sort of expedition that the U.S. government or Canada were doing, then you would have all these things in place. This is a private, small company doing its own thing. It's in international waters, and so you are not going to have the infrastructure in place for a quick rescue. That's why you've seen it take days, and why just this morning, as they're running out of oxygen, we believe these ships just arriving, and it might be too late.
It may be a recovery rather than a rescue. One thing that we can hope and pray for is that, when we've heard lately about pilots is losing oxygen, passing out, and they literally fly the plane and they lose oxygen, they pass out. We're hoping that's a situation that it's not us. I don't know, but the other concern is about their families. 5 people with 5 families are concerned about them, and the whole world knowing that they're in peril and that their survival are very minimal.
We do know there was a former employee that brought up safety concerns that was fired, filed a lawsuit in 2018. Again, now we're seeing it's National Geographic. They went in this sub, had the opportunity to go down and film something, and he said, we decided against this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because he did not feel like the safety measures were in place to go down in this sub.
He was on with Anderson Cooper last night, quite a bit of length about his concerns and why he didn't want to go on, and that this was not a ship. It's made of carbon fiber. And most time when you see a ship go to these depths, you're talking about titanium and things like that because of the pressure. Carbon fiber is a much lighter, but I think it remains a little more untested as far as
well, it's an experimental craft.
Whether it can withstand this sort of pressure at 2 miles.
Even though it has been involved.
Yeah.
There's been dozens of trips before.
Titanic.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's happened, but it was a power failure. So that's why they couldn't activate the fact they could the weights they have attached to it and rise to the surface. So more than likely they're somewhere down there. Maybe we've talked about this yesterday, Ben. Are they trapped in some of the Titanic? We don't think they got to that depth. So something
we
happened.
just don't because they lost
know.
communication in 45 minutes in, and it takes several hours to get down to the Titanic. So we don't know if they ever made it, or where. And if they didn't, then who knows if they'll ever.
But not only that, the Today Show this morning talking about the cold temperatures. I mean, it's 30-something degrees down there.
Somewhere about 35, 39 degrees. I mean, if there is any advantage, which means you got the small space with 5 people in it.
Stay warm.
So actually, it's the body heat that helps everybody survive. So it's not. I don't think it's the fact that they would freeze to death. It's just very uncomfortable. It's dark, food, water, all that minimal. So it's just everything going to
carbon monoxide issues on as
Without
well. Not only losing air, oxygen, but that as well.
You're breathing out the carbon.
And the conversation, has been some hope that we might be able to have here. I know a lot of what keeps getting lost in translation is that the air is expected to run out between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. And then that could, emphasis on could, later in the morning if they were able to figure out some way to conserve oxygen while they're on board this vessel. So, there is a chance that, even though rescue missions are running against the clock, that there might be some time left to work with. And then on top of that, I was looking at Axios and the Associated Press, reputable, kind of doing some write-ups as to what is a relatable situation that's happened before as far as coming, a rescue mission at this kind of depth in the water. And so I'm literally reading from Axios. There was a plane that crashed around 12,000 feet deep, and it was able to be rescued. So they use these remote operated vehicles, which I think we've talked about.
An airplane?
This is an airplane that crashed into the ocean, and this was 2022. And so they were able to get her. And so I know that there's a lot to do after that because they can't open it themselves. As soon as they bring it to the surface, they have to as well open it. But there may be a chance.
It's so sad. Once again, it's just a tragedy that has, the world has never seen anything like this.
I don't know the exact number, but it was deep rescue of a person. I don't know the exact number, but it's relatively shallow.
Yes.
Compared to what we're talking about. We're talking about, more than miles deep. It was in comparison with something very negligible that is almost surface level compared to the depths we're talking about.
You think of submarines, the kind the military uses, their depths are 4,000 feet.
4,000 feet, something like that.
And
it's not.
They've had situations where they had to do rescues like that, and it's not turned out good. But there have been rescues made. This is you're going down 2.5 miles, and that's just impossible almost.
Joy chiming in saying, "I hope they can safely." Jane saying, "Just praying for their safety." So. After 4 days, I think a lot of people were really hoping something would be found.
It's interesting what John just said, I think, because I think this is what...
Yeah, I talked about this yesterday. John Kelly saying, I wonder if this changes people's desire for extreme tourism destinations. It's a tragic situation because one of the billionaires on this trip also went on SpaceX.
Yeah, and it also brings the question, not only does it change their desires, but our desires to go after them, because the resources it takes. And if people are willing, these billionaires willingly taking on these risks,
right?
Among their governments, among society.
Yeah. The obligation to end this, who's responsible?
Totally.
This does show that money doesn't buy everything.
Yeah, totally.
It's a sad state of affairs. This guy this guy's a billionaire, but it's going to save his life.
It's interesting.
No.
The CEO, Stockton Rush, I was reading in the New York Times. So his wife, evidently the descendants of a couple that died on the Titanic, the Strausses. Evidently one of the guys behind Macy's back in the day. I think it was their great-grandfather or something like that. And evidently they're portrayed in the movie Titanic. They're the older couple that get in the bed.
Oh, wow.
What I saw in the Times was that he refused to get on the boat while there were still women and children not on one of the lifeboats. And she refused to get on one of them as long as he wasn't on them.
Wow.
And so they both died on the boat together. And I think their oldest daughter ended up having kids, and who is now a woman married to the CEO of this company, and he is now missing.
Jeez.
At the side of the Titanic.
It's a crazy story.
Crazy.
It's like, and it probably will be a movie. It's like
It had
a happy ending.
Yes.
And we you know, there may be an amazing miracle. This will be a miracle.
And
if
miracles
they find
happen
them
all the
alive,
time.
it could happen. But you know, there's no precedent for it. There's nothing ever like this happened before. There's never been a rescue effort like this. And you know, I'm sure that all these countries, they want to show that there's an effort being put forward, but they're probably realizing there's really not much hope to find.
When you're up against time, it's just...
And where no one knows where they are, but the ocean makes lots of noises.
Yes, yeah.
So they're not sure
The
if
banging,
that was
the
from
banging
them.
noises.
Yeah, they're not sure if it was them or some other noise.
If it's them, I mean, about a needle in a haystack, that's easy to find compared to this.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking about 2.5 miles of water, and you're talking about, you know, thousands and thousands
North
of...
Atlantic?
Yeah. Well, we will be watching... Yeah.
We will, along with all of you.
As you will too, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another edition of Wake Up Charlotte.
See you then.